Hello and welcome everyone to the new features of MarCom 5.3.1 Data Interface Software webinar. This is George Schutz, and I'd like to thank you all for attending. I'm the Director of Precision Gauges at Mahr Incorporated here in Providence, Rhode Island. And as we go through today's webinar, if you have any questions during the presentation, use the chat feature. They'll get recorded, and I will respond to your questions after the webinar by email. It's great having you all here today, and let's see what we can learn about the new features of MarCom. Today we're going to learn about the features about MarCom, and we'll refresh our memories on what MarCom is and why you need it, some of its current features, and then we'll look at the additional features of easy access, adjustable window sizes, adding the serial number, selectable savings, and even erasing the last measurement. I think you'll find this a worthwhile webinar. So what's MarCom? It's a data management software tool used with Mahr Precision products, whether they be integrated wireless, external wireless, or a wide range of wired setups. MarCom allows the user to choose where and how data will be sent and received. It's a very simple interface to use and does not require a lot of programming or computer knowledge. The great thing is it's free. You can get it at www.mahr.com/MarCom. And when combined with our integrated wireless products and low-cost receiver, it results, I think, in the lowest cost and best value for wireless data collection. So here's an overall picture about the whole concept of MarCom. On the left, you have a whole series of products, whether they be wireless, add-on wireless, through cables, or through RS-232, and MarCom Professional handles those different interfaces and allows you to send the data to various places. On the input side, we can take signals from our integrated wireless products. So we use an iStick as receiver, and each receiver can take up to 8 wireless products. And since you have the ability to take 4 receivers, that's up to 32 wireless products can be handled with MarCom running. We also have an eStick, which is our add-on receiver product line, and MarCom could handle one of those, and each one of those receivers can handle 8 products. We have our unique Mahr Connect cable system using the USB connectors, and you can connect up to 128 products through the USB port using low-cost USB multiplexers. Nothing special required with those. And we also can take 2 RS-232C devices, like our column gauges or our height gauges and so forth, and they can be used with MarCom. So lots of options on the input side. On the output side, we have a multiplexer virtual mult box that allows data to be sent to various SPC or other gauging systems, basically third-party software products, whether it be QDOS, any other SPC packages, or gauging software like current manufacturing software. MarCom can be the interface to our products, our wireless products, to those types of data collection tools. Or you can use MarCom to transfer the data to a Microsoft Excel file. with the ability to manipulate where the data goes in its columns and rows. You can create worksheets, assign files and different sheets for that. So you can create basically a template which MarCom will help the user collect transparently from the gauging operation. You can also transfer data to Microsoft-based programs like Word and so forth, where it becomes basically a text input like it was being a keyboard. Or you can send the data to text files, so as you place that raw information into a text file, other software packages can be monitoring that file, learning when something's been updated and collected. So there's lots of ways to take input and send the data to various collection tools. So basically what we're doing is we're creating a personal collection network for a user. You're taking multiple gauges, here are wireless products, adding a low-cost receiver and adding MarCom, and you have the complete package to begin collecting and recording data. And with MarCom and using the Excel files, you can go ahead and create basically worksheets that can collect the data. Using Excel, you can classify the data, you can get averages and so forth. So there's lots of computing power with Excel to help you collect the data. So with our wireless products, what you're doing is we're the first ones to integrate wireless data transmission in our products. So now you can get rid of all those cables that you might have had before. And now you have a nice working area on your desktop. Nothing's getting tangled up or tied together, so there's no cable clutter. There's a single battery for the wireless transmission, no add-on modules, no expensive receiver. And with MarCom, that data collection is transparent to the user. But why is that data collection important? Well, data collection is important in a lot of ways, but it's really the fastest growth area for a lot of customers because they're realizing that you need the data for documentation of whether that part was good or bad. You can use it for process control and process improvement. You can also use the information for gauge tracking to learn about what gauge is starting to collect data. And that's one of the new features we're going to talk about with MarCom and our new wireless 40 EWR micrometers and so forth. We'll talk about that in a minute. And really, this is all transparent to the operator. There's no add-on modules. It becomes part of the normal measuring routine. Everything is happening in the background here. So it's a much lower cost, high value wireless data collection system. So let's talk a little bit about MarCom and some of the current features, and then we'll get into something that's new. So you can see here I have basically the three screens of MarCom set up. The first one is the status screen. That's this one over here. When you start running MarCom, you'll see the status screen start up, and by double clicking on it, you'll get to the setup or configuration screen, which looks like this. So I have a couple of setups already done here. And then finally, the last screen is the data collection screen. In this case, it's an Excel file which we've created. So these are the three screens that are available, but the operator doesn't really have to see any of these because these can all be hidden in the background and they just go ahead and make their measurements. And especially if they're using a third-party software, MarCom is running in the background and the operator really doesn't even need to know that it's there. So just a little bit about the status window. This is not too much has changed here. This is the one that gets you to the configuration screen where this shows us the measured value that was is being displayed, a indication of here when the wireless device is connected. We have the reset to reset the measuring cycle back to the beginning. There's a global timer. We have some timing functions which you can start the start or stop the timing cycle. And what's new in 5.3.1 is an erase last key. And we'll talk a little bit about that, but this is the new feature that's on the status window. The connectivity screen, the configuration window is basically, whoops, pardon me. It's basically unchanged. This has lots of information on it, which we can just take a quick glance at. Each one of these horizontal lines is the various devices that are connected into MarCom, and we have examples here of RS-232 devices, USB devices, wireless devices. All these can be connected simultaneously. The column on the left shows us the type of interface and whether it's active or not by the green button that's being shown here. Of course, the picture of the product, information here, which is you can configure, where you can give it an identifier. We see where that information is coming from, what gauge it is, and so forth. So you get a description of the connection device. We have our data screen, which shows the result of the last measurement that was made by that product. And then this column over here talks a little bit about what's happening with the data. It shows where the data is going to, if there's any key to trigger the information, if there's a timer active for that product. All these things are standard setup features which are available in MarCom. I think quite easy to use. So let's talk about some of the little things that are coming along with MarCom 5.3.1, and the first one is on the start screen here. And usually when you start MarCom, you get this nice little window up there, which is our start screen. And some people didn't like the fact that it was a very small window, because you can use this for the operators to signify data is being measured. But now we have the ability to take that window. Of course, you can move it around like any other Windows function, but you can also stretch it now. So you can have it fill up your whole screen if you want, and then create a nice user interface for the operator to verify that the data is being collected. So that's one little feature, but it's one that makes reading the last measurement a little bit easier. We also have the ability now on the configure screen to rearrange the operations or the various gauges that are in the measuring cycle. And now, again, this is just a Windows feature which has been added to MarCom, where you can kind of drag the device to where you want it in the gauging sequence. So, again, another small little feature that makes the setup a little bit easier. In the past, you might have had to delete and then re-enter a device through configuration, but now you can drag and drop that into the order that you want. Now, sometimes those are two small little features just to make the MarCom a little bit easier to use, but sometimes features are added because something else has happened. And what that something else has happened is that we've introduced a new interface protocol with the micrometers, and these are going to be fed down through the line through our our digital calipers and digital indicators and other products. So whether it be wireless or wired products, eventually we'll all get this. Like I said, it's only with the micrometer right now, but over the next year or so, we'll start implementing these in our calipers and our digital indicators. But what we're doing now is we're giving the product a two-way communication, and we're also providing a serial number and a product identification as part of that indicator. So now with the two-way communication and that information, we can send not only the data, but we can also send the identification number of the product. So why is that important? Well, it just goes a little bit further in the documentation of the measurement. So now your SPC program can collect the data, and you can verify that that information came from the right measuring tool that was assigned to the task of making that measurement. So you've completed the loop. Since the gauge number is there, that now can be traced to when the last time it was calibrated or the last time it was serviced. And now you're filling in that whole loop between data collection, knowing when it was done, and knowing which instrument did it. All towards the world of better documentation for your measurements. So that two-way communication on the micrometers is done both wirelessly and it's done with our USB cable. So we're getting two-way communication, but there's also the other benefit of the USB port will be powering the micrometer through the USB cable. So there's no more battery changing required for these micrometers when they're plugged in, because they're getting their power from the computer itself. So the batteries there is only to store the zero position, which is very low power, and that battery will last for multiple years now if it was always plugged into a USB device. And whether it be the wired or the wireless products, we have that bidirectional communication, getting the identification serial number and item number, but we also have the ability to have a little bit more control of that product, where through MarCom, we're able now to control auto zeroing or locking out features or setting tolerances and so forth. All those things can be done on MarCom. So with two-way communication, there's a lot more power built into the system. So like I said, the big one is, I think, assigning part numbers and serial numbers. And now we'll see is when we open up one of the items that we're working on here, you can see that we have a place here for part number and for serial number. So this is a 4157120 micrometer. That's our identification number for that micrometer, and this is its unique serial number. So that information is visible, and it can become part of the data transfer operation. And you can see here, you'll see here that under the settings features, you have the ability to control, because of the two-way communication, remote zeroing, resetting the origin point, putting the product into absolute mode, or even skipping a measured value. All these things are sensed excuse me, when that product is plugged in. But MarCom also knows when a product might not have those capabilities. So right now our calipers do not have the two-way communication. So if that product is plugged in, you'll get the screen, you'll have the ability to manually assign a part number and a serial number to that unit, and only through MarCom, so that will also become part of the collection routine. So there's no parameter part setup area, but it allows for manual setting of a part number and serial number. So MarCom is very intelligent. It knows what's plugged in and what the product's capabilities are. So you can see now with the data, again, if you've been using MarCom, you'll see some things are rearranged a little bit differently. Now there's 3 tabs over here, a settings tab, a device parameters tab, and a transfer to tab. So let's take a look at what happens here in the settings tab. So in the settings tab, this is the example of 3 tabs, and under settings, you have the ability to go ahead and select how we're going to request data send, either through a keypad or a keystroke operation. We can do remote zeroing, remote origin setting, or change the product to the absolute value if needed, all via keyboard or foot switch, or other ways, or a timer to do that. So that makes control of the product a little bit easier. Under the device parameters setting tab, here's where you have the ability to download tolerances into the product. You can put an offset in to reset your 0. You can enter your tolerances, plus or minus, absolute value if you like. You can set the warning limit by a percentage from the tolerances. And you have the ability to remotely lock out certain things. So if you don't want the operator to changing units or changing the tolerances or re-zeroing, you can lock out those features all through MarCom. Of course, you can do it through the product, but now you can do it through MarCom itself. And the final tab is the transfer tab. This is very similar to, not too much has changed here, but it's very similar to what you have before, with the additions that you can change the column and row labels if you like, to whatever format you're using. But this is the transfer tab when you're working with Excel to tell it where in the Excel file to go to. Or you can, again, use the transfer to tab or selection here to put that into a text file or your virtual box or other ways of where that, or defining where that data is going. So this is a very powerful tool in the Excel world to get data and start collecting information into your own custom worksheets. And here's a little example of, again, I have my 3 screens active. Again, these don't all have to be active here at the same time, but this is a little example of where you're going to be able to see data going into the columns as I collect data with my micrometer. But then I'm going to go ahead and go up to my settings screen here and choose my additional data, and I'm going to check off the information I want the micrometer to send, the description, the serial number, the part number, and so forth. And now as I start collecting data, you can see that data is entered and all becomes part of the data collecting that's been going on for this product. So that measurement is complete, And you can see that you have the ability to turn off any one of the additional information to be collected. That's a pretty powerful feature. And one of the things that we've been asked for a lot with MarCom is the ability to erase last. And as I noted before, in the startup screen here, you have a key for erasing last. We can do a little demonstration of that feature. You can see I'll be collecting a little bit of data here. And then I'll come up and use the erase last key. That last piece of data is gone, and now I can replace it with another measurement. So the erase last key is an important feature, but it only works once. You can only erase the last measurement that was taken. So all things to make the capabilities and the ease of use with MarCom just a little bit better. And as I said, there's lots of different products to work with MarCom. We have a whole family of calipers and depth gauges and digital indicators and digital micrometers. And the thing to remember is that the micrometers are the ones that have the two-way communication, whether they be wired or wireless, and eventually all the products that Mahr makes will have that feature. So we talked a little bit about MarCom Professional. It's a great value, being a free software package that allows you to take a lot of different products wirelessly or with cables to start collecting information. So we've discussed the basic features of MarCom. We've highlighted the additional duplex features coming from Mahr's 40 EWR micrometers right now, and eventually they'll be put into all of Mahr products. It's important in today's communication world and documentation world of knowing what instrument made that measurement, just to verify that everything is under calibration and that data is good and reliable. We've talked about the additional features found in MarCom, which is the adjustable startup screen, easier ability to move the measuring cycles around, the erase last key, the ability to set up the device through MarCom, and the ability to erase last. So we've got a lot of new features in MarCom 5.3.1. And because all these things can happen in the background, the data transfer is really transparent to the user. And again, MarCom is our free software package available through our website. And since it's free, it's a great value. And why choose Mahr to help you with your measuring application problems? Well, Mahr has a broad range of industrial metrology products. We have the application competent to support you. We have a broad wireless hand tool portfolio, and with our ability to send product information, really help you reach the demands of Industry 4.0. We have some good promotional prices on these high quality products to help you achieve the best value. And after this webinar is ended, we're going to send you a link to the recording of this webinar so you can follow along with some of those measuring tasks that I've done. And I will answer any questions that you might have used the chat box for. So thank you for your attention today. It's been great sharing these new points to you. And take a look at MarCom. It's going to be a great tool for you to use. Thanks again.